Welcome to the Astro Forecast for the week of July 11th to July 17th. This is a big week in the astrology. There is a super full moon in Capricorn on Wednesday, July 13th. Now, the moon is going to be gaining in light at the beginning of this week, but because this is a super full moon and some other aspects that are in play during this full moon, we're going to feel the intensity of our emotions starting to build as we come to this super full moon. And if you're in any of the cardinal signs, if you're in Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn, you're going to feel this very strongly. Or if you have any kind of aspects in these four signs around the 21 degrees of those signs, you're definitely going to be feeling it. So if you don't know anything about your chart, don't worry. I'm going to cover you with a kind of general forecast for what's going to happen for the collective. So as the moon is gaining in light, we are starting to have our momentum kind of come into the collective. So you'll have more energy for things, and it needs to be discharged, right? So it's, I was going to say energy for aggression, but really you're going to feel frustrated because of some of the things that are coming up in this full moon. Now, in astrology, we have kind of the concept of, as a planet is coming to make an aspect with another planet, we call that applying, and then exact when it is exactly at the same degree, or that's in a conjunction or kind of opposition, like in a full moon, and then separating. So the moon moves pretty quickly, right? It's 2.5 days in every sign, and it goes around the zodiac about 28 to 29.5 days, depending on what part you are kind of focusing on. Now, when it is an exactitude, that is a full moon, when the sun and the moon are opposite each other. The sun is in Cancer, so that is a loving, nurturing sign, intuition, emotional intelligence, wanting to be home, wanting to take care of people, very smart. They're cardinal signs that like to start projects. They're lovely in cleaning the home, taking care of things at home, or just a nurturing presence out into the world even. People feel very comfortable around Cancers because they're just so emotionally safe for people. And they have an empathy or an intuition that allows them to help and see what is needed of them, where they can be of service. And the kind of downside of Cancer is that they are so open, that their boundaries are so watery, that they can feel everybody's emotions all the time. And when someone kind of needs them, having to say no to that can be really difficult because they can feel the other person's needs so strongly that it might override their own needs. So boundaries are kind of a plight of every Cancerian's life, to say no without feeling badly and feeling like giving to themselves. This is an important part of giving to others. So Capricorn, the moon is going to come to sit in that 21 degree mark of Capricorn. As the moon is coming to that position in this week, over the 2.5 days at the beginning of this week, it's going to kind of click closer and closer and closer to that 21 degree mark. And the sun is also moving 1 degree for every day. So as this kind of is plodding forward, if you will, it's becoming closer and closer, almost like the puzzle piece is coming closer and closer to fit into the slot, if you will. And what's happening is there's a building of that intensity. Now, there's also another planet that's sitting there that's part of all of this, and that is Pluto. Pluto is about death, rebirth, transformation, intensity, fixation, obsession. It is a deep and dark planet. And it's one that helps us to heal. It helps us to move things along. It helps to evolve humanity. And one of the big things for this year in the astrology for the collective is Pluto takes 240 some years to go all the way around the zodiac. So the US is coming to, they had their Pluto return this year. And a Pluto return, when the planet moves back to its original position, it's going to bring up all of those old things again to be seen in a new way. That's why we're seeing the loss of women's rights. We're literally going back in time and going, what do we want to keep? What do we go? And there's kind of this huge, really coming to reality moment right now in the US with what is happening with their gun control, what is happening with women's rights. And literally it's going back 200 and some odd years to kind of when Pluto, started with the Declaration of Independence is the birth of the nation. So it's interesting now when you see that Pluto return, bringing up all of that stuff. So that's kind of a little bit of a hint of what's going to come in here. So Pluto is going to be sitting with the moon at this exact super full moon. So first of all, a super full moon means that the moon is going to be closest to the Earth in its elliptical orbit around the Earth. So it doesn't just go around the Earth kind of in a cycle, like a circle around it. It is actually kind of flying out into space and coming back around. And when a full moon happens at that exact moment that it's closest to the Earth, we call that a super moon. So it can be a super new moon, but we won't see it, right? Because the sun and the moon are kind of sitting together in the zodiac. So we don't see it, but in a full moon, the sun and the moon are sitting opposite each other in the zodiac, but opposite, kind of sandwiching the Earth in between, if you will, if that makes sense. So when we have a full moon, the moon is illuminated in its entirety, and this is going to be the biggest super moon of the year for us here on Earth. And the moon really rules our emotions, the waters of this planet. And since we're about 70% water, it really has an effect on us, to the point that statistics show emergency room visits are up, police calls, mental health calls, even teachers report their children being kind of crazy around the full moon. We have lunacy, right? The moon during that time. So this is going to be churning up our emotions. And why this is in the zodiac is the sun represents our vitality, our egoic nature, who we feel we are as an identity, as a person. And the moon represents our intuition, our divine feminine nature, our emotions. So these are literally two parts of us are sitting in opposition. And the sun is sitting in the divine feminine sign of Cancer, which is normally the moon's ruling. And the moon is sitting in Capricorn, which is about authority, structure, doing the right thing, being a powerful authority in things, being a figure that can be seen as somebody that holds respect, father time, doing the right thing, patriarchy, structure, government, that's all very Capricornian. So when we have this kind of divine masculine, divine feminine sitting opposite each other, this is we call these cardinal signs. These are signs that start the season, and they have a lot of firepower. They have a lot of get up and go, let's get something done. That's that kind of that big CEO power of seeing the future and going after making this vision manifest. These are manifestation signs. So what's happening now at this time is Pluto is sitting with the moon. This is intense emotions. This is feelings of, why can't I be seen? Especially where the sun is in Cancer, feminine, and Pluto being in the masculine, but Pluto being with the moon. This is really this feeling of, and I think this is going to bring a lot of things to light, of women feeling like they're losing their authority in the world. Where have we been abdicating? Where have we been perhaps silent or quiet and had these kind of rules and rights taken away from us? And in the States and in Canada, there's definitely a possibility for that if we picked another government or other voices started to get amplified. That possibility exists for us everywhere. So there is a possibility right now of kind of a rolling back of women's rights, of our body, of the home, of our children, all those things, especially with gun control. So in the States, this is becoming very, very, very prevalent. And we're sort of seeing that ripple out through the world. There was other countries, I believe it was Poland, I think, they also outlawed, don't quote me on that, but there was another country in Europe that also rolled back women's rights with regards to abortion rights and choice over our body and our uterus. So this is going to be, that's just an example of this theme coming up, but really the theme is about this, our power, our control over ourself, our nurturing self, our reproductive self, and how are we really coming to live that in the world, or where are we feeling like we've kind of abdicated that, where do we need more quality? And affirmative action and equality is quite an interesting topic, because as we come into more awareness, there's this feeling of, well, are we doing this for the sake of doing it, or are we doing it because it's the right thing to do? Or who's being disadvantaged when we do affirmative action. And the fact of it is it's needed to create a new norm, right? We need to change the way things are. I posted something quite recently talking about religion in schools, and I had someone who I know, not really well, but know, kind of challenge me on that and sort of say, well, do you think this would be okay in other countries? And so I'm not actually talking about other countries. I'm talking about here in Canada. And I'm bringing awareness to the fact of this kind of, I would say it's an injustice. I would say that's an inequality. And to bring awareness to inequalities, it's going to poke people. It's going to be really hard. And I'm okay with poking people in that way because I want change in my lifetime. I want my grandbabies and my babies to have a different world. And I want to create a better life where people feel more safe to be who they are, right? So this full moon is going to not only be closest to the earth, whatever you planted at the beginning of the year, the new moon in Cancer was on January 2nd. Sorry, the new moon in Capricorn was in January 2nd, 2022. So it was the first new moon of the year. You planted seeds, you made a vision board, you created a word of the year, you set an intention for that, and now it's coming to fruition in a new way. Looking at your vision board, looking at your intention, looking at your word of the year, does it still make sense for you now? And can you bring compassion, kindness, love to yourself for the ways that you've maybe not accomplished what you wanted to, or maybe let yourself down, but really maybe got distracted with what life had to kind of throw at you, and bringing so much love to that part of you that got maybe a little bit distracted or a little bit off path, and bringing that awareness back to, where do I want to be master of self? Because Capricorn is self-mastery, right? Really understanding where can we become the master of self, and how can we own our feelings, own our emotions, and really use that emotion to become the master of self, not to deplete it, not to try to hide from it. Pluto is coming here with the moon to help you maybe intensify those emotions so you can't push them down, for you to feel them and heal them, to release them, or integrate them and understand what they were trying to show you. Inner child healing, doing the modalities, getting Reiki during this time, doing any sort of introspective journaling will be really helpful for the emotions that are coming up for you now. Another aspect that's adding more intensity to this moon is that there's a square to Chiron. So Chiron is the wounded healer. As you heal others, so do you heal yourself. And wherever you have Chiron in your chart, you will have a wound that will constantly come up for you to see it in new ways as you evolve and ascend in your life. So this Chiron is right now sitting in Aries. And as it sits in Aries, the wound that's coming up for the collective is, where are you abdicating your authority? Aries is the pioneer, it's the leader, it's the courage, it's the bold and confident, going forth into the wild blue yonder to create your own path. Where have you not been doing that? Where have you been trying to follow everybody else's path to your own detriment? I've been learning human design, and what I love about human design is it gives you permission to be your authentic self. It literally looks at your energetic blueprint, because it's based on your birth data, and asks you, are you actually living in alignment with your true self? Or have you been trying to, by conditioning, live according to society's values or what people told you should do? An example of this is, I'm a multi-passionate person. I do astrology, I do mediumship, I do tarot readings, I do grief support counseling, and soon to do human design as part of that, and coaching. And I love kind of combining all those things to help people really live their best life. And I had a teacher once said to me, if you're a jack of all trades, you will be a master of none, Sheetal. And I remember thinking, that's not right. That doesn't feel right for me. I don't want to just be a master of one thing and I just do mediumship. I would be bored to tears. And, mediumship is great. And I have colleagues that just do mediumship, not just, but do mediumship, and they do it really well. And that's great. I like doing mediumship really well. I also like doing tarot really well. I also love doing astrology really well. I love having multi-passionate dreams and experiences. I can't do one thing all day long. And that's not my thing. It's never been my thing. And for my teacher to say that, I really kind of took it to heart by sitting with it for a while. And it wasn't until I took human design up that it said, my type is that I'm a manifesting generator, and I am going to be multi-passionate. I will have multiple things that I will be called to do, and I need to be free to explore them and do them as my heart is in them. And I was like, hell yes, that is me. And that might be you too if you're watching this. And I just want to give you permission to be your true, authentic self. That, you know, yes, there might be people that'll come along and say, you need to do this, you need to do this. Like even in business, oh my gosh, how many things you need to launch like this, you need to book this much in your runway, you need to do this, you need to charge this much. And I'm like, I don't think so. I'll try that. That feels right. I don't think so on that. So it's really about following yourself, and your inner authority is very much different by person using human design. So I can't wait to share more about that in the future. This full moon is asking you, where have you been following what someone told you over your own knowing? And can you give yourself permission to follow your own knowing? So that is going to be the full moon. And then Thursday, July 14th, the next day, still in effect from the full moon as well, is Venus square to Neptune. This can be hard things happening in relationships. This can be deception. This can be secrets coming to light. This can be low confidence. Do not sign contracts this week. I'm going to warn you, please, if you can, hold off till next week on signing contracts or making commitments. This is like, you don't have all the information to make a commitment. Venus in Gemini, information, curiosity, communication. Neptune in Pisces, the fog. You're not really quite sure what's happening, confusion, and a square is a challenge to each other. So this is a challenge to relationships this week, where there can be miscommunication, there can be misunderstandings, and definitely you want to listen this week, and you always want to be actively listening, checking for understanding. What I heard you say was this. And you're going to hear no. Or someone said, you said you were going to be here. And you're like, I didn't say that. What are you talking about? So a lot of people sort of projecting onto you. That's also Neptune square Venus, projecting onto you. So really being clear. And if you're feeling like your spidey senses are tingling because something doesn't feel right, say something in the moment. Say, I'm not going to be here. I just wanted to check. I thought you said that I'm supposed to be here and I'm not supposed to be there. Actually, this just happened. I mean, this week for me was we were supposed to meet my family for dinner, and my parents said 5:30, and then they told everyone else 6 o'clock. So we were there, and I'm never on time. So, you know, that's full disclosure on me. But we were actually there like 5:35, and nobody showed up till 6. And I was like, huh. Okay, this is interesting. And even my aunts and uncles are like, your parents told us 6 o'clock. And I was like, did you say? And my mom's like, I don't remember saying 5:30. And my dad's like, I didn't say anything. So this is all mom's fault. So it was really this interesting kind of projection back and forth of like, who said this? And no one could, yeah. So that was interesting. So be careful, no signing contracts, don't make any big commitments on the 17th and leading up to the 17th. So I would say like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, no big commitments on anything, and just checking for understanding and being super clear in communication. Okay. Friday, we have Venus is in conjunct to Pluto, and this is kind of a minor aspect, but it is still an aspect. So Pluto is death, rebirth, transformation, intensity, and Venus is as a relationships in Gemini. So an in conjunct is this kind of need for adjustment between the two. There is a need for some change. We are changing, and our relationships might not be changing with us. So there is a need for adjustment between our evolution and our family and friends and the people who know us. Or maybe you're going deep into some research and looking up what's happening for you or understanding yourself deeper. And there might be this feeling of shame. This can also be volatility in abundance, where you're like, oh, I got a whole bunch of bills coming in. Like you're getting tested to the things that you find as abundant or that you want, love, and value in your life. So there can be definitely erratic energy on this day as well, and a feeling of emotional constriction. So just knowing on Friday to give yourself some space, maybe not committing to anything big on, in terms of like plans or dinners or going out or anything like that, and just being very careful with who you trust and who you trust your money to this week. Saturday, we also have a really sensitive aspect. We have the sun coming to conjunct Mercury, which means sun and Mercury are coming to sit on the exact same degree. So the sun is our vitality, our egoic self, the way we feel about ourselves, our energy as a person. And Mercury is our mind, our communication, our thought processing. And having Mercury and the sun come together in Cancer, this is a very sensitive time. So you'll feel very extra sensitive today. You're also going to be hugely intuitive on Saturday. This is a great time to meditate, to do any kind of like pulling cards for yourself, giving yourself a mini reading, maybe looking into some esoteric things as well, but also more so community, family, and connection. Great time to stay home to clean your house. This is very great energy for connecting with family or healing parental issues, especially with mom. Cancer is ruled by the moon, which is kind of that mom zone, and our nurturing intuitive self. But there is a couple other inconjuncts happening today as well. So on Saturday, there's a kink in the energy between the sun and Saturn, and Mercury and Saturn. Saturn is about our responsibility and our duties to others. So this is definitely boundaries, feeling like we can say no without inconveniencing anyone else or ourselves, or feeling bad about ourselves, or feeling bad for other people because we have said no, or we said no, not today. Sometimes I like to sort of use the delay tactic of like, not right now, maybe in the future. Unfortunately, my schedule is too busy right now. So there's an imbalance between what you want to do and what you have to do today. So saying no or putting people off a little bit, that's going to be your test for this week, and especially for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then Sunday, we have a huge aspect. Venus is moving into Cancer. So we're adding more Cancer energy. This is more nurturing. There's more intuition. This is more feeling type of energy. We want to be nurtured and nurture others. We want to feel that reciprocal kind of energy coming back to us. And we love being at home. We love feeling like we're in this safe little cocoon of a place, right? And when you think about the Cancer sign, the sign of Cancer is the crab. So we've got the crab, that kind of awkward situations, right? It moves sideways. It's a little awkward. It doesn't like confrontation at all, right? Cancerians don't like confrontation. And it needs to have people with it. So it loves to be in community or partnership with people that make them feel safe. And it has that hard shell. So if you hurt the underbelly or the feelings of a Cancerian, they will go into their shell and you will get the hard shell. They will go away if they can, but they won't be, there's no conflict. You just won't see them again, or they won't return your calls. So they're very much, this Venus moving into Cancer now, as we get more Cancerian with the energy, we're going to feel ourselves getting more sensitive and noticing where we may be overextending ourselves. On this day as well, Neptune is trining Mercury. So we have a lot of great intuitive downloads. We're having a lot of insights about ourselves. And it's also trining the sun as well. So this is a great day for brunch with people that make you feel safe and heard and seen and lovely. And this is also a great day to connect with the women in your life that really lift you up and feel good for you. So wishing you a wonderful week with this full moon in Cancer, reminding you that everything is helping you. Everything is trying to help you evolve your soul. So this full moon in full moon in Capricorn, super full moon in Capricorn, is asking you to, can you be the authority in your life, and where can you stop abdicating authority or kind of consulting everybody around you, giving away your authority and being the own authority for yourself, being your own leader in your healing, in your life, where you want to go, and following your own heart. And it's going to show you places where you're not doing that. And that is for an opportunity to heal. Okay. Wishing you a great week ahead. Thank you for being here. I super appreciate you. Sending you so much love for this week and all that is to come for the summer. We are having a very sensitive, intuitive summer this year, y'all, and use that energy for good things. Do fun things with your intuition. Keep practicing and strengthening your intuitive muscle. Talk to you soon. Bye.